Thank you, Mr. President. I acknowledge the graciousness of our colleagues to allow me to deliver my speech. I'm always, the majority floor leader can attest that I never asked to change the agenda. I never asked to be bumped up except today. I used the birthday card, Your Honors. But I promise you that this will be short and sweet and very productive. March 22, my birthday, is actually World Water Day. And to my recollection, I have never celebrated my birthday during session. I mean, my birthday has always fallen during the break. So it is a privilege indeed for me to be able to deliver this speech on World Water Day in session. Your Honors, I'll keep this short. I think all of us can agree that this matter, which I stand up before you on personal and collective privilege, is very important. In the news, and I believe the majority floor leader filed a resolution or filed something on a bill, we have data that shows that 11 million Filipinos do not have clean water. Now, in the recent IPU that I attended on behalf of the Senate, it was established that women and girls are disproportionately impacted not only by water scarcity but climate-related disasters in general, especially when they threaten national and regional peace and security, causing forced migration, displacement, and increased poverty. Women and girls are more vulnerable to gender-based violence and other violations of women's human rights, with often no access to support systems. So I deliver this speech, Your Honors, emphasizing that these are very much connected to our Sustainable Development Goals. SDG 3 on good health and well-being, obviously, kung walang malinis na tubig, it's hard to be healthy. A lot of infants, if I'm not mistaken, the major cause of infant mortality is diarrhea, which is caused by lack of access to clean water. And then SDG 5, gender equality, I already explained that there's enough evidence, and it was the topic of discussion in the entire IPU, that women and girls are disproportionately affected. Kasi alam nyo, Your Honors, girls usually ang inuutusan mag-igib ng tubig. Even in the Bible, di ba, pinapakita doon na na-meet ni Jesus yung isang babae doon sa well. Kasi it's a gender role. Not to say na hindi naman tumutulong yung mga lalaki, but it tends to be a gender role. SDG 6 is specific to clean water and sanitation, and SDG 10 on reduced inequalities. The Philippines, being a signatory to the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, is committed to integrate the SDGs into our national development plans and policies. So, as I said, 11 million families lack access to clean water in the country, according to the National Water Resource Board. Your Honors, when I was not yet a senator, I lived in Bagumbayan, Taguig, where Alan and his wife Lani still live, our colleague, my brother Alan. And would you believe, I found out, much to my distress, I was a young lawyer at that time, that many homes did not even have the basic water facilities kasi wala palang tubig. So why will they bother investing in a sink when wala palang tubig? Wala ring flush. So, but now meron, thank God. Meron naman tayong tubig sa Taguig City, but there are still many places in the country where there are not direct sources of water. I will move on. I will submit the my full speech for the record, Your Honors, but I am just emphasizing the important points. A gender-segregated space for women and girls is not only about sanitation, but it is also about safety. Sharing facilities with the opposite gender puts many women and girls at risk of abuse and assault. So that's something to be considered in our planning, Your Honors. Lalo na yung kulang na kulang yung facility, share, tapos sa gabi, can you imagine, madilim, sa gabi, magpupunta mag-isa doon ang batang babae. Meron talagang risk po dito, Your Honors. A clean and functioning bathroom with access to sanitary products is necessary for women and girls to manage their menstrual hygiene and pregnancy as well. So, Your Honors, it is important that when we think of clean water and sanitation, we must also see it through a gender lens. Like most crises, the effects are never gender neutral, and the effect on women are proportionately higher than men. The water crisis today is worsened by the climate crisis and global warming. To address water insecurity in the country, the national government has taken steps to mitigate and provide a sustainable water supply for all. NEDA in 2019 released the Philippine Water Supply and Sanitation Master Plan. This serves as the national action plan to achieve universal access. DOH as well has in its 2023 Environmental and Occupational Health line item, 86.1 million is allotted under this line item in 2023. I must end simply, Your Honors, by saying that all of you who work on the budget can attest that we must do more in terms of budgetary support for access to clean water. And not just that, Your Honor, I speak as your chairman of the Committee on SDGs, Innovation, Futures Thinking. Ano ang future ng Pilipinas kung wala tayong sapat na tubig? When I was chairman of the Committee on Environment in my first term in the Senate in 2004, I had the privilege of doing a study visit in Singapore where they showed me their complete plan for water security. This included desalination. It included importation of water through the use of big pipes. And finally, it included cleaning sewage water. They have this, I assume it's still there, and I invite all of you to go. Let's go on a field trip because it was very educational for me. If I recall correctly, it was called New Water, New, bagong tubig. Pero galing po to sa sewage. Baka malakas lang ang loob ko, pero yung mga kasama ko, they were scared to drink it, but I drank it because I trust the process. I trust science, I trust technology. Ang tanong ko is, are we doing any of those three? Any? Do we have serious desalination programs? I don't know if we need to go to the extent of importing water. Are we cleaning our water? So ang dami-dami pa natin pwedeng gawin. And I hope forever matatak sa ating mga sa ating kaisipan ang kahalagahan ng tubig, lalo na pag naalala niyo ko on March 22, my birthday. It is World Water Day. I will end on that note. Thank you for all your greetings and your support, Your Honors. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, our distinguished colleague. Just for the information of our colleague who's celebrating her birthday today, it's an apt topic. I filed Senate Bill number 310, which is the Potable Water in Every Barangay Act. So, because I am with you, really, in the provinces like in Bukidnon and many provinces, there are no potable water sources. Yeah,
Mr. President, thank you so much for that. May I ask that this, because my speech is I precisely showed how it is related to all the SDGs. I would like to hear this with due respect to any other committee that wants to focus on water. But I am offering my service to the Senate. If you want me to be the one to take the lead in these hearings, I am happy. If not, I can focus on SDG, whatever is the pleasure of the body, Your Honor.
Yes. Well, I would love it if the lady senator can be tasked to also listen to these measures.
Yes, Mr. President, and if I may, let me state for the record what the distinguished lady from Taguig and Pateros, our birthday celebrant, made mention a while ago, that today, March 22, Mr. President, we celebrate the International Water Day. And according to the National Water Resource Board, Mr. President, 11 million Filipino families, this is not individuals, Mr. President, Filipino families, or almost half of Filipino families lack access to clean water, Mr. President. And that's why this representation filed Senate Bill number 1048, or the Safe Drinking Water Act, which seeks to ensure the provision of potable water. We also filed, Mr. President, Senate Bill number 2013, providing for an integrated water resources framework. Again, Mr. President, the news that you made mention about accessing clean water and access to water, Mr. President, is really unacceptable considering we have 36,000 kilometers of shoreline, Mr. President, which is fifth in the world, Mr. President. So with that, Mr. President, and as mentioned a while ago by our distinguished colleague, SDG number 6 talks about clean water and sanitation. And so with that, Mr. President, I move that the speech of the distinguished lady from Taguig and Patero, Senator Pia Cayetano, and the manifestations thereon be referred to the Committee on Sustainable Development Goals, Innovation, and Futures Thinking. I so move, Mr. President.
There being no objection, motion is approved. And Majority Leader, if I may, on my bill, particularly on my bill, if I can ask the permission of the chairperson where it was referred to, kasi matagal na ito na-refer, it's Senate Bill number 310, baka we can also give it to the Committee on Sustainable Development Goals, and including your bills.
Yes, Mr.
Your
President.
Honor, para-
I was about to
Oo.
say that, Mr. President.
With the permission of the body. So maybe we can, while we're listening to other speeches, we can ask our secretary to clean
we
up.
can do that before we adjourn today,
Adjourn,
Mr. President.
correct.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Our resident expert on water as well, si Ma'am Pia.
And then I move for the previous question, Mr. President.
Yes, that's approved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, let me go back to